We'll start the May meeting of the Roxbury Town Board. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everyone's received the minutes for the last meeting. Any questions or changes, comments? I'll entertain a resolution to pass the meeting for the minutes. Ed and Deanna, okay. I spoke with Mike earlier today. He's given us a written report, so he is not going to be here tonight. I believe you've all received that. So, do we have any other requests from anybody to speak tonight?
From the audience? Or?
Well, during our time, not right now, but I'm just asking if there are other people that wanted to address the board. Of course, of course. Why would I think any different?
Well, at least we're consistent.
That's great. I'm learning. That's good. Okay.
I'd like to ask a few questions.
Okay. When we get there, sure, no problem, man.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving on. I guess we'll start with water and sewer. Chris or Kobe, do you have anything you want to update us on?
Yeah, sure. This is Chris with the water department. Up at Denver, we just replaced a radio that had gone bad and the antenna at the top of the reservoir. These were two critical pieces that had to be replaced no matter what in order to get that system to run in auto. And we did that last week. Aqualogics came down, a guy named Andy Hughes, and replaced the radios and installed the antennas. Next thing is I have to find out where there's a bad check valve at one of the wellheads, or there's a broken pipe in the line that feeds the wells to the well house. So what's happening is every night the clear well drains all the way back down to the wells, and it stops our booster pumps from priming.
I see why you
every morning I have to prime those booster pumps, and it takes about an hour to get them going.
Hold on.
Once we get that figured out, that system will run amazingly. It's designed to do everything on its own. And that's where we are with Denver. Grand Gorge, we're okay. We have a little sticky problem with the PRV valve, and hopefully we're going to get an estimate from Ross Valve to replace that valve within the capital project, because that valve you can no longer get parts for that valve. And the last guy that was there servicing it had to makeshift something on site in order to get it to work. So that's something that will have to be replaced. But like I said, hopefully it will be done within the confines of the Well 3 project. That, and for Roxbury Water, they just are ready to submit that the connection to Lake Street and Roosevelt Avenue. They're ready to send that out for bid. So that's where we are with all three water departments.
I saw the bids are due back. What was it, the 11th or something of June, I believe?
Yeah, I believe it's something like that.
Okay. Kobe, you got anything to add?
For the sewer side, I started installing that blower that came in for the post air tank at Denver Sewer. At Roxbury Sewer, we had our annual service up at the main pump station behind Main Care. They came and did, their annual service there, so everything's running great at Roxbury. And Denver, so far, everything's running great. We did have one in the beginning of this month. because of the equipment failure, that pH meter went down. We had one violation for not being able to record a value, but I talked to DEP, I submitted the report, and they said it was all okay, so.
Okay. You guys, anybody have anything for your water sewer? Okay, moving on. Bill, why don't you go? Give us an update of what you got. We'll get you out of here.
I showed you guys, I got the prices Bill Schreiber got for the AEDs. He got a quote for a brand new one, which is a complete package, which consists of the patches, the machine itself, and a cabinet to keep it in the highway department to keep it clean and dust free. A brand new one he priced out at $3,695. He did find a recertified one with the same warranty, which he would recommend, just as well as a new one for $1,150. He did say that to do the training, he would just charge they would charge him per card, which is $17. He just would need to know how many people are interested in taking that training course, so he could order the cards when we do that.
And the rebuilt one is certified and
Yeah,
warranty
yep,
and
it's
everything.
recertified. Yep, same warranty. He says that he, no doubt in his mind, he trusts that one just as well as a brand new one. Great reviews on it, so.
So you think you could find another one? He could find another one maybe?
Yeah,
For the
yeah, I
transfer
believe
station,
so.
maybe?
I could ask him, but it
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have one. up
well,
there.
he was mentioning one for the town hall and
Yeah.
for the highway
Yeah.
department
In
and
town hall, we should probably have.
yeah,
I mean, if we're gonna get the refurbished ones, we can get 3 for
Right.
one.
for the
Yeah.
price of a brand new one.
But that's- Maybe we should figure out
Yeah.
doing that.
I think
Okay.
so.
And then other than that, not a whole lot going on. Cutting brush, grading roads right now, getting things ready to for the roads to stone and oil. I finished up the DOT permit for them traffic logic signs today. I'm either gonna bring it to Rob in Cobleskill tomorrow, or get his email and just send it to him email. But had to fill out like a 5-page permit and all the locations and all that for that. I finished that up today. So
Okay. And I don't know, I was thinking more about that. Do you think we should, those posts probably don't need to be 13 feet high. Maybe we should ask him if we can make them more standard, like an 8-foot post.
that's it. The ones in Stanford aren't that
Yeah,
high.
and I noticed that today. I was up there today and I noticed they weren't, so.
Maybe they're what, the most 10,
Yeah, maybe we should try.
and they don't even have a base like we just
Maybe
discussed.
we should try to call him and see if
Yeah,
we have them short.
10 or
10
12.
or something.
yeah, even a 10-foot.
Yeah. I think he probably had longer ones because he was originally we was quoting us for having
Right for the double signs,
double signs on them. So
and it's a 4.5-inch post, so
yeah.
pole. So I don't think you're gonna need for.
We maybe be able to make them shorter. You want to try to reach out to him in the morning?
Yeah,
If you got time.
sure.
Okay.
I'll just with the email that he's
Yeah,
been going
just
back
just
and
respond
forth.
and say we talked about it, and maybe we can.
Yeah, see if there's a shorter post
shorter
available.
post we can get.
Okay.
So what has to happen after that? The DOT permit, how long does that take?
Well, we've already gotten approval from the DOT
Yeah.
to do it with the signs, and so we've ordered the signs. I signed everything today, so
And I noticed on the email what he said they were like 5 weeks out.
About 5 weeks to get the signs, and then these guys, Bill and his crew, are gonna put them in. We have to
A month and a half maybe?
probably early summer, hopefully. So
Yeah. So it's just a matter of, depending on what, like a 12-inch by 4-foot deep concrete hole for a base for an anchor, I guess.
yeah, whatever they require, they'll probably.
The ones in Stanford, they just drove the post into the ground. The
Yeah, but
pole
these are
itself.
these are a 4-inch post. We talked
Yeah.
about that with it.
But
you're gonna
the
need to
ones
do
in
it.
Stanford are too.
Are they?
That's a 4-inch round post, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Rob from DOT thought that we should do something with concrete.
Yeah, I think we talked about using the sonic
Yeah.
cable, and I think it comes with J bolts if I remember.
Right, and then
Yeah, they probably give you a
They
template
kid.
and J bolts. You can just set it right on there.
right, and then just I think that's a better way
I do
to.
too.
But only other thing is the resolution for Depot Street, Depot Road. I know. What was that?
Well, we got a response back from Lindsay on that.
Right.
And they
She had
did not
mentioned.
recommend that we took that over
Correct.
at this point.
And
So I think we,
with that being said, what we do, we maintain it from Bridge Street over to Park Street to get to Park Street.
right,
But the part, if you take a left going to the old ice house, is what she recommended.
yeah,
We don't have any problem plowing that, so
right,
the guys get to get to their shops like
Right.
we always have. So.
right.
But yeah, she didn't recommend.
I don't think,
Making it an
she didn't
official town road.
recommend that we make it a town road. I mean, down the road, at some point, if something else happens with the
Right.
railroad or with the ice house, that might be different, but at this point, I mean, we do,
Yeah, we'll just leave it.
we
way
have
it
the
is.
right of way through there anyway,
Right.
because we own the ice house and the old creamery there, so. There is property there that we have the right of way to anyway.
To it, yeah. But as far as everything else,
If the board's okay with that, I think we will
Yeah.
just table
Yeah.
table that as far as doing anything with it at this point. So,
that's it for me.
anybody have anything for Bill?
Up to Coons there, their signs,
I noticed that. Yeah, I don't know. They disappeared. I see.
Where?
Kuhn Road. Both sides are
both
missing.
sides are gone.
Yeah.
I see they must have made up some
Yeah, I
and
see that.
somebody's made
I
up
got
some.
on my list to get
Oh.
some made up and post them back again. You got to have a certain size letter now and everything.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I noticed that a week or so ago that they made their own. But,
While we're on the subject of signs, Bill, I don't know if you noticed, the county gave us a bunch of signs for the transfer station,
yeah,
and they need to go. David was gonna call you, I don't know if he ever did,
No.
about getting those installed. Of course he did. Two of them go by the metal bin, I think one is, it says no fuel and no propane tanks, things
Okay.
like that. And the other one goes, there's two posts already in the ground down there, but I don't know, I thought maybe you guys could,
I'll go up. I got to fuel the back up tomorrow anyway. I'll
Yeah.
take a look at it when
Yeah.
nobody's there.
if, we just need to get those things stuck up there.
Sure.
I was thinking we'd use those two posts that are sitting there empty.
Right. Another thing would it be, how'd you put have one in the senior male site?
An AED.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they get the AEDs, or if they get the senior meals open again, I don't think they're doing
Well,
meals in there now. are they?
No, not yet. Yeah, say that's a good place.
Yeah, I mean,
There isn't something in there?
I don't know if there is or not.
No, they just make food and deliver it.
Yeah.
They,
But even on the other side, there's not anything like that?
oh,
There might be on the other side, but there's not in the towns.
that's nothing with us.
So-
None of this was budgeted, how do you?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say, we don't have any of this on the budget right now, so is this something that you guys wanna look at?
Are you gonna use ARPA funds? What are
Use
you
some of
gonna
the
use?
ARPA funding or something like that if you want. There is money there available, we haven't committed to everything for this year yet
Right.
with that, so. If that's what the board's pleasure is, we'll go ahead and make a
They're
resolution to
beneficial.
use. Make a
Yeah,
resolution to go ahead
they
and
won't
purchase.
like that.
Yeah.
Did you go behind the Civic Center today and look at that garbage?
I did.
Do you know anything about that, Ed? Behind the Civic Center on the ball field, there's a garbage can chained to a.
Yeah, it must be, I was gonna get a hold of Rick Davis, or Rich Davis.
Because we were
I
talking about
would-
that today.
You won't be able to get in there with a machine, I looked at it.
No?
It's right
Okay.
behind the bleachers there.
Yeah,
behind
it's gonna have
that
to be
stuff.
dumped or,
Taken away and new.
well,
Gotta
I
be
mean,
cleaned
it's
out.
right full, it's right full and it's right full of water.
Oh, okay.
Should happen is somebody
So-
should go drill some holes in it. let
That's,
the
you
water
got
drain
some
out.
pretty rugged boys there.
Yeah.
Nobody
Well, when
knows.
we were talking about it, and I said I wouldn't want any of my guys sticking their hands in there to clean out. We just remove the whole thing. But if it's full of water,
I can.
You have to get it drained out somehow, you have to get it over on the side or something.
I could go up with a cordless drill and drill
Yeah,
holes in
drill
it.
some
Yeah.
holes in it or something.
I looked at it today, I tried to tip it over, but I couldn't get it over for.
Yeah,
hard
it's
chain.
locked there pretty good.
It's got a padlock on it, I don't know
Yeah.
who whatever would have a key.
That's
in it.
what I thought, maybe, that or the action group would have. They're probably the ones that put it out there.
So there's just a garbage can.
I think I would just
I don't
cut the
know,
lock
maybe
off with a bolt
actually
cutter if you got
put
one.
it out there.
Yeah, I mean,
Then
yeah.
you get it laying on the side, the water will go out of it. But
Little League and stuff, I don't know.
Karen, Beanberg's the one that said something to me about it, so
Mhm.
I don't know why the community action group would have put anything out there.
But yeah, I can go up and drill some holes in it. See how much trash is in it.
Yeah,
so for the AEDs, do you want to look at 4 of them and put one in the Civic Center as well? And I guess we need to get a resolution. Do you have an exact price on these for 4
We
of
We
them?
only found one used one, right?
Yeah,
So we have
recertified
to
they
find
are.
more.
Refurbished,
There was only
recertified.
one available.
No, I'm not sure. I think there's more than one. I can check into it and see. He just gave me this at last minute today, so I'm assuming there'd be more available, but
I mean, if you want to make, I guess we could do.
it
a
says
resolution.
quantity, so you add to cart.
I guess we could do a resolution now to purchase 4 of them
Yeah,
at whatever the quoted price is using the ARPA funds.
yep,
Somebody wants to make that resolution.
I like that.
I'll second it.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Alan, can I ask just a quick question? What is really the protocol on the part of the highway department for, trees that fall down on the road? I mean, I don't know what it really is, but there have been times that I'm up pretty high, and if I'm going down the road, I try and remove the tree or the branches physically. So I'm just kind of wondering, do you have the drivers once a day or after a windstorm or something that they?
Yeah, all the windstorms were out every,
You're out there.
You can always, if you know of a tree down, you can
Yeah,
always
just
call.
Should I
Bill.
call?
Yeah.
Just
basically?
call the highway
Okay.
garage and leave a
Okay.
message, and they can.
It's coincidental because they'll be up by your area tomorrow. We started today cleaning brush up, but yeah,
I
anytime.
noticed that on the way down, yeah.
Don't be afraid to call the
Okay.
shop. But yeah, when there's heavy rain or windstorms, we're out either when it's happening or the next morning.
Sometimes at night,
Well, yeah,
it's not, it's just, I just
it's
was
just a
wondering,
matter of
how do you handle that?
we try to take care of it right away,
Right
especially
away.
if it's a road
Okay.
closure. But
Great, thanks.
sometimes what they do is get them out of the road and throw them to the side till the next day or.
Do the drivers all have chainsaws? They usually cut them up? Is
Yeah.
that what they do?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody have anything else for Bill?
Cheers.
What does the training entail for the,
The AED.
yeah,
I've got a employee actually that works for the highway department that's a trainer for stuff like this and CPR, and he's willing to, for the town,
right,
do a course at just a charge of what the cards cost him, which is $17 for the training on these AEDs.
so if there's
He's a
4,
paramedic.
you'll do training for each location, so there'll be somebody trained at the senior center to make it,
Do we need to have training for that?
Well, they're a publicly installed unit. They're available. That's like the same thing you see in an airport or any place else. They have directions all over them, and they're
oh,
pretty basic to
okay,
use.
so it's just like
They're designed
if-
for public
for
use.
public, if
Yeah.
there's an emergency, I just wasn't
Right,
sure
yeah.
like how that would all work.
Much different than the one that that the fire department is purchasing for the firehouse. The one that goes on the ambulance has many more capabilities, and it's designed to only be operated by a trained EMT. But the public ones, like what Bill would be looking at, they're designed to be in a public space that's available for anybody to use. So that's
The
what
ones we had to work will talk you right through it.
Yeah,
The minute
they
you
do,
turn it on,
yeah.
it tells you.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it'll
that's
tell you
awesome.
right
Yeah.
where to put the
Yeah.
patches. And
we had the same thing in all our fire trucks, and they were very basic. They're very easy to figure out how to use. It tells you just what to do and when to shock and the whole works.
Right.
So it's pretty easy to use. But that's what they're designed for, is for general public to be able to
Right.
use them. So
thank you.
Okay, Stephanie, what do you got for us?
Okay,
You're getting into your busy time of the year here.
yeah, so, yeah. So we finished so we filed the tentative roll, it's here for inspection, downstairs and upstairs. Today, we just got it loaded onto the website. Um, and the county is not ready because IT is never ready. So it's on our website. If anybody wants to look at the roll, it's on our site, not on the county site. It'll be there eventually, we don't know when. We still have unresolved, photo issues. Again, as I mentioned to the board earlier, this has been going on since January. We just bumped into it recently. Sadly, I'm the one that discovers all this stuff, so, it is what it is. And, hopefully you guys are talking about that, Alan, at the county level, because, something's gotta give. You know what I mean? It's just,
IT has been an issue
it's
for the whole
ridiculous.
county.
It's
and,
just ridiculous, so,
as I said, there's a good portion of their ARPA funding that they received that's going towards IT to try to cure some of the problems that they're having. But, it's
yeah,
every
some of those are
department.
machine problems and some of them are not.
That's the
So,
truth. But everybody in
Yeah.
everybody in the county
I
is
get that.
dealing with this. So
Also, I'm not sure that I mentioned this to the board, earlier, but, the program that we use, which the majority of New York State assessors use, we lease from New York State Department of Taxation and Finance, right? And it's a huge program because it does everything from assessing to taxes. And it's old, and it's homegrown. And we ORPS no longer have the amount of the depth of programmers that, to bring that along to create a new iteration. So, the department several years ago put out an RFP to replace our program called ARPS or RPS. And, nobody bid on it. They rebid it again, and then finally a company bid on it. And the bottom line is that the company that's been working on it for several years, we just shut it down. Why? Because it's not meeting expectation. So we're back to the drawing board. We are not going to abandon RPS. They're going to redo it and create a new version of it. And when I say we, I mean Department of Taxation and Finance, Office of Real Property Services, in-house. And so that to me means that they are going to step up and hire the programmers that are necessary to create that new software. So that's kind of interesting. A big setback. Nobody's surprised by that. We're disappointed, but we're not surprised. The other thing that I wanted to bring to the board's attention has to do with, exemption, because we just finished exemption season. And, it was brought to our attention in one of our weekly emails from Albany. The auditor, the controller's office, did an audit on across New York State of the forestry exemption program, the 488 program. And just by way of background, about the exemption value in the town of Roxbury is about 2% of the roll. So it's not insignificant. So what does that mean? That means 2% of taxable value is shifted from those properties across other taxable properties. That's how exemptions work. I think they're great, but I'm an outdoorsman, so I'm into preserving whatever we can, but that's just me. So interestingly, and we take exemption filing very seriously, and we're very serious about taxable status date. And the report found that, there was a lot of laxity, both on the part of assessors across New York State and the part of DEC. And I want to defend DEC for just a minute because it's a huge program. These people have to go out, they have to create a management plan for each parcel that enrolls in this exemption. And then they have to inspect the property every so often. And there's a management plan that's associated with each property that's in this plan. So it's very labor intensive on the part of DEC. And sadly, the report was very critical of DEC staff. I have to tell you, they are extremely undermanned for the task at hand. I'm just putting it out there. And sadly, in the auditor's report, one of the recommendations was not, let's take a look at the program and see how we can better equip the foresters and the field personnel to do their job. That was not one of the findings. I'm going to write the controller a letter because it's inconceivable to me that that would not be stated because they are it's a huge job, severely understaffed. They don't have the resources to do the job properly. So the report was pretty critical of them and critical of the assessors that said, oh, yeah, I'm not really following it. I don't really know what's going on. And we're not lackadaisical about that, you know, and I wrote in my report to you that we removed 6 forestry exemptions this year. Why? Failure to timely file. Oops, I forgot. They didn't file with DEC or us as required. 5 additional properties filed and didn't get the exemption because they didn't check all the boxes. They didn't meet the criteria. They didn't file the certified commitments with the county clerk. Those are not small defects. Those are absolute defects. And those are the types of things that I think that have not been well managed by some of our colleagues. And I gave you a link. I gave you a link to the report itself that was issued, and I'm going to put that on the website so that you know everybody can take a look at that. Again, I think it's a great exemption. You know, it just makes so much sense on so many levels, and so we're always glad when a program works. We're glad to do our part to make sure that we're in compliance with the law. And I will be writing that letter to the auditor and saying, you know, I don't know how you expect, you know, 3 people in a field office to cover the size of Rhode Island. That's how much territory
Typical New York
our
State
2
issues
foresters
these days.
in Stamford cover. The size of Rhode Island. It's crazy. Anyway, but did I have one other thing?
Solar.
I think that.
Solar.
Oh yeah, the solar. Okay, so thank you, Diane. So you know, I've talked in the past a little bit about this crazy assessing model that was put out by the Department of Taxation and Finance, the solar and wind model that we have to use to value these clean energy projects. And why I use the word crazy is that the way the law was rewritten and the way the model works is that we are now required by law to value these at about 20% of what they would have been valued previously. Well, who pays for the rest? Well, we all do. And that's not a Delaware County thing, that's a New York State thing. And so a bunch of towns got together and actually filed a complaint against the Department of Taxation and Finance, and it was actually great that the model was unfair, and a very temporary victory, you know, with an emphasis on temporary. So a judge recently issued a temporary restraining order preventing assessors from using that new model. Sadly, it's very temporary because it's a very easy defect to cure, and so we're going to probably be back using that model once again, which is, you know, clean energy is great, but not when everybody has to pay for it, you know, across the board. So, you know, more to come. A very temporary restraining order, and you know, more to, you know, we'll see how that works. And then, Alan, you have a thing. I think that you have the clean air thing that
Yes,
that
the board
county
is all
passed
has
and all
about
that. So yeah. So this is the back end of that, where how we value them actually puts the burden of paying for this stuff on taxpayers.
Well, there's gonna be,
It's gonna be good.
this is a huge issue for the state in general if this project continues. Because essentially the long and short of it is the city of New York and the downstate counties are trying to offset the power that came from Indian Point, which was shut down. And the only way to do that is to make major changes to bring power in from the rest of the Northeast. And it's a huge issue. The number I heard was something like, if it was to be done with solar and wind, it was gonna be something like a couple million acres needed just for solar, which would have to be in solar farms to offset even a portion of what this nuclear plant provided to New York City. And the other side of it is there's a huge power line that's gonna have to be built.
They're actually doing it now.
And that's
The one
gonna,
that's going through Delhi right now.
that's gonna go through Delaware County and it's gonna go down and tie into one of the big transmission lines in New York City, which is basically bringing, I believe it's some nuclear power, but it's also bringing a lot of hydropower from Canada, which New York State gets to pay for. So it's a huge issue. And it's gonna, if it continues the direction they're going, it's gonna be a huge problem for New York State taxpayers, but, cause it's gotta come from someplace. Unless they're gonna turn the city dark, there's not many other options, so.
Well, the new smart meters are coming in. They're gonna start installing them across the state. And so, you know, on the one hand, isn't that great? But on the other hand, you know, we're gonna have rolling brownouts. It'll allow rolling brownouts more efficiently
And
to
that's this
compensate
information
for when
for
the
any,
sun goes down.
for anybody that's aware or interested, this was all posted on our website as well. The details about how this works, we will, when we get into resolutions, I am gonna ask for a resolution from the board to draft a letter and submit comments concerning this, so. Okay, anything else for Stephanie, assessor wise?
Yeah, last month we talked about the rave alert system. We're
Yeah.
just not gonna
I'm
use
out.
that.
I gotta tell
We're
you,
just not using it.
Well, since last month, we did find out that the county now, or through this New York alert system, there is a separate, program that's developed for municipalities using the same system, but it's not, the New York alert system is designed for life-threatening emergencies only. But there is another, using the same Everbridge company technology, there is another, another department out there that handles municipal notification systems.
Right.
And I've been trying to schedule a call with the girl that represents that to try to find out more information. So the beauty of that is they already have all the data. Because they have everything from our 911 system. So that's in the works to be determined, but there is possibly another option out there. And,
So what are we doing with Rave?
as I said, we haven't totally given up on Rave yet, but I think it's, as Diane can attest, it's not been working
I don't
very well.
even know what to do with the last email I got.
it makes no sense.
Yeah, I
I'm
haven't
sorry,
seen
but it makes no sense.
I apologize, but I haven't seen that, but I know it's reached a point where they're just not able to provide us with what we're looking for, so I think we're probably gonna end up dropping it.
So you want me to go forward with this last email?
I haven't seen it, I'm not sure where it was. Do you wanna explain, what is it they want you to do?
Well, you were on the video with me.
I was, yeah.
She told me how to enter the one that wasn't loading.
Yeah.
And now she's telling me the only way I can get all that same information
Is
is
to do
to
what you
put
were
it
doing
into
before.
the existing system that I had entered it
I
on.
thought you meant you had another email since then, yes, I did see that one, so,
So I don't know what to do at this point.
I think at
If
this
somebody
point,
else wants to take it over,
I think at this
can
point,
gladly
what
take it
my
over.
suggestion would be at this point, let's just table it for now. And see what comes of this Everbridge program that ties in with New York Alert, and see what we can get out of them. We'll go from there. So, and if we decide, if it looks like that's gonna work better, we'll terminate the contract with Rave and move on with another program. But I'd rather wait until I find out more about what this other group is gonna be, and what's gonna come available with that, so.
did they ever get the KML file?
Yeah, I sent
Was
them
it
that.
something they could use?
I guess portions of it, yeah, she got back to me and said they could use parts of it, but I don't know that it's still what we're looking for. I didn't get
You know,
it.
the only way that, Alan, that I could see Rave working is instead of us, you know, trying to fit this square peg in a round hole because, you know, they
Well, that's
just
what it
can't
seems
handle
like
it.
we're trying
So-
to do with
so-
it.
But wait a minute, so what, the only way that I see it possibly working is for, just to open it up and let people opt in. And so that way people enter their own stuff
Right.
and then, you know, we said that, you know, instead of saying targeted alerts, which was the purpose of Rave to begin with, so we only you know, we're,
Right.
you know, zeroing in with laser precision on those people, just to say, you know, people on Roosevelt Avenue from this house, you know, from 23 Roosevelt to 95 Roosevelt, no water for the next 3 hours. And if it doesn't apply to you, you hit delete, and if it applies to you, you go, oh great, let me fill a pot of water.
And that's what we hope this
Yeah.
program is
So,
gonna
so
work, but it
that's, you know,
hasn't
that's the,
yet, so.
to me, that's the best thing that can happen right now, is just let people, you
Right.
know, register themselves.
Yeah.
And sadly, everybody will get, you know, a notification that may not apply to them.
Well, I think also, that same program with this Everbridge, which is already in place through New York Alert. Anybody can register New York
Right.
Alert for any alerts that come in as an emergency alert. And that same data will be available if we can get a program together with them. So yes, that program is still set up already. And that's in place right now. Anybody can go on New York Alert and enter their information, and they'll get sent alerts out for anything that's relative to the area. So. Okay, anything else for Stephanie?
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Building inspector, we all received a report from the building inspector this month. Okay, Kirkside Park and grants, resources, things like that. I guess Katie, I'll let you go if you're available.
Sure. Just a quick update on the Roxbury Main Street program. We received 8 applications totaling just under 190,000. The steering committee is taking a look at those applications this week and we'll be meeting with them on Monday to make those funding decisions. But we do have about 230,000 left in program funds. So we did some additional outreach today. I'm anticipating another 2 applications from that outreach. And if we need to, we can look at expanding the target area beyond what was originally proposed to spend that money.
Okay. We did get I forwarded you guys a response also concerning this proposed new Main Street funding program. Maybe, I know Peg told me I didn't think she was gonna be on here either. But I just wanted to get a little update for everybody. I know you're familiar with this Main Street money. I understand from that it's not really available yet, but the program is coming out very shortly.
Yes, they haven't officially announced that. We know it's coming. We just don't know exactly when.
And that's something that your group, you guys will be monitoring, obviously, and if there's
Correct. Yep.
time for a community group to assemble to go forward. This is kind of similar to the program that was done a couple of years ago, which we didn't get selected for, correct?
Correct. It's called, if you look in the governor's proposed budget, she's calling it, I believe, New York Forward. So it's a little bit less funding. It's for rural main streets. Instead of the 10 million funding cap, I believe it's 5 million.
Still would go a long ways for our little town.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, as soon as they open that funding and release the guidelines, we'll be scheduling some public input sessions.
okay. Good enough. And we did receive, Denise was not going to be able to be on tonight, but we did receive a report from her. Did anybody have any questions or comments or information?
No, it's for Katie. Did you talk to her about the comprehensive plan? Or the,
I did not.
Okay.
And that's something that we do have some money set aside for a comprehensive plan. And we do need to get organized and get the committee together or whatever we're doing there. I think we got, I'm pretty sure Katie, we did get a grant, right, for a portion of this?
I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure. We're still, I think, in the transition period between Peg and I, but I'll confirm that with her tomorrow.
Okay.
And you and I can connect this week and go over
Sure.
all of that.
Okay. And the only thing I did want to add on the Kirkside Park, we did have bids come in last week. On Friday, we had 4 proposals. We do have a resolution on the books for later on for that work. Hopefully to start as soon as possible after June 15th. And just for anybody that didn't know, we do have the permits in place now. And this will be monitored and managed through the Soil and Water Conservation Service. So looks like we're moving forward as soon as the weather lets us do the work. And that's gonna be the big question. It's gotta be relatively dry or else we'll never be able to do it. So. Anybody else have anything on Kirkside or the grants? Or anybody? Okay, moving on. Health officer, I don't think we have much. I know there's been a couple reports of rats on Upper Main Street. My mother happens to live up there, and I think what a lot of people are seeing is a big old red squirrel with a bare tail with no fur on it. That is not a rat. But that does not mean that there's not rats running around up there, but the particular location of that one I don't think is a rat. So I saw it just actually 2 days ago again. So planning board, did we receive a report from the planning board? I didn't see anything. No, okay. Buildings and grounds, Ed, did you have anything with Civic Center other than we just talked about the garbage outside and all that stuff?
We did have a porta potty put out back.
I saw that was out there today. Yeah,
He brought it right up.
yeah, good.
Well, that's gonna be handy.
And
I've
just-
already had a couple comments on it. That should have been happening a long time ago.
It's a good idea. It's
You
easy
know,
to do.
playground and.
And just a quick update on the new town hall. Steve Cameron's just about done with his work. He's gonna help us move some file cabinets around and stuff, I believe, someday this. Oh, he did today? Okay, good. And, with any luck, maybe we'll be doing our next month's meeting up there. So, we're hoping to.
I think that's gonna be pushing it.
Big thing is getting the phones hooked up. We do have an issue with the phone line going into the building, and we may end up having to put a new underground phone line in, so. Other than that, Margaret's on board with working on it to get it done as soon as we can, but. As I said, we'll play that by ear as to how soon we can get in there. Pete, did you have anything short-term rental wise? I know you and I talked earlier that as we discussed last month, I did get confirmation from Glenn Nealis from the County Economic Development that they are not proposing anything for short-term rental as far as an ordinance or anything like that. So the county board or the county committee for the Board of Supervisors felt that it was to be, it should be a project that's managed by each individual community, just because many of the communities have different ideas and different needs for short-term rental. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So I would say, I guess we need to get, if we're gonna go forward with this, we need to get more active with the committee.
Am I taking the draft application off?
Yeah, you can take that off.
Cause people are calling.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah, we did get the one from Jefferson and it looks similar to the one that we had, but I didn't, the application, but I didn't see the law, what the.
Well, a lot of towns
enforcement is
around
and
have
stuff.
adopted laws, some much more strict than others. So I guess
You
that
just gotta look at the enforcement
Yeah.
piece.
we'll throw it back to the committee and see what we're gonna do. Some of the towns are using their own code enforcement officers, some of them have hired or contracted with inspection agencies to do inspections of the buildings, which is another possibility, so. Do you wanna try to schedule a committee meeting at some point to see if we can move forward with this again, or what's the board's pleasure here?
Yeah, I just kinda,
Well, just, so the county's doing no enforcement of it?
No, they looked in, and that's where this came out, that it was talked about that possibly the county, economic development committee would look in, they did a recent ordinance, to change the county bed tax law to include more detail about, short-term rental, to clarify that they were definitely required to pay the bed tax. But out of that also came some discussion about whether the county would entertain developing an ordinance that looked at things like we talked about, safety and different things like that on a county level. And the committee decided that they didn't feel comfortable with that because the county's, first off, so large and so diverse. It's different in many parts of the county, so.
So do they enforce any part of it? They just collect the money and.
Their role is the tax, and that's basically the way it works. So when it comes to enforcement, it's basically up to each community to determine what they want to do.
Well, because that's the purpose of their ordinance.
Yeah.
Is just, it's financial, it's
Well,
not health and safety.
Right.
Right,
That
but
makes
they have
sense.
stuff on their website that they say that they enforce, and they have the county sheriff enforcing it, and I guess. They don't
Well, this is
do
not one of them.
I think it's more to do with whether you pay your bed tax or not.
It's money, it's a financial, it's a financial ordinance, not a health and safety ordinance.
Yeah, and they do have, I think they do have the sheriff enforcing that if people are actively doing it and not paying the bed tax. They are dealing with that side of it. But as I said, it's back to home rule law and everything else. They felt that the communities should make their own decisions on what ordinances there should be there.
So it's left up to the towns, I assume.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there a cookie cutter kind of approach from one town to another, the other?
And they're all very diverse.
Everybody
Sometimes,
does their own thing, is that right?
and a lot of towns that have adopted them have put in things like a maximum number of short-term rentals, where you can't get a permit to have a new one unless one gives up or stops doing it. And there's a lot of things like that are in some of the other towns' ordinances. There were not things we were considering, but so.
So one town cannot copy somebody else's and add
No,
to
and
or
the
We've
delete
done
from.
so, I've looked at a bunch and kind of
These
said
are
what
working with
we've
this
been,
committee.
putting together some of their ideas, what would fit for ours, but no, there's no cookie cutter,
There's no similarity there, it's just,
no. And some places have zoning, we don't have zoning, so,
yeah, that's true, yeah.
it's very difficult.
So with the fire safety inspection, would like a long-term rental also need to be inspected? Because that's still a business. That's still, like, I remember, Mr. Davies saying that short-term rentals make money on it, but if you own a property and you rent it, it's still, you file your taxes as it's a business. So wouldn't those have to fall under the same purview?
I think Lindsay opined on that earlier.
We were only doing short-term for under 30 days, I think,
Yeah.
30 days.
I know Lindsay, that was brought up before, because it's a good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, it
I
is a
think,
good
I think Lindsay had she had an opinion about that.
Well, if you
But
have
if it-
I
like,
just can't remember what it was.
like for
actually.
instance, a motel or a hotel, they're required to have a health
No, but
department
just, no,
inspection and all
no,
that
you're
stuff.
talking about like in everyday people,
Right.
private
Well-
individuals renting.
Yeah.
Right, and
Right.
so it's like if you're gonna say that short-term rentals are unsafe in some way because they haven't been inspected, I would think the same rules would have to apply to a long-term rental.
I do remember that we talked about that before, and it was something that I think Lindsay looked into for us. Unfortunately, she's not on here tonight, and neither is Kevin, so I can check with her again on that.
But it makes sense, doesn't it, if you're going to adopt a safety rule, that you want all rentals.
But I feel like
To
if
be
you're gonna live
safe.
at a place long-term, you're gonna want it to be safe for your family.
It has nothing
Before
to
you're
do with
gonna
the
rent
person
that.
renting it, it has to do with the person, not the person who rents it, it has to do with the person who is renting it. They are responsible.
The owner.
The owner,
Right.
not the renter. The renter is not responsible, the owner
Well,
is
I do
responsible.
think also, and again, I don't want to make an opinion on this because I'm not that familiar with it, but there are some sections of the New York State Building Code that address rentals and address issues where you are renting a property. You need to have things like fire smoke detectors and all that. And I do believe that the building code does not address short-term rentals. So that's the other issue there. But again, I'm not a code inspector, so I can't really speak to that. But I think there is some differences there based on what's considered a rental. And I'm pretty sure that's addressed in the New York Building Code. I at some level, so.
And your insurance would want you to have it too. if
Yeah,
you're
and another
renting
thing
out.
is insurance too. That's another place that goes. So, okay, moving on. We are. Is there any new business or old business we need to discuss that anybody has?
No, we just got a letter today from Renee or Kita for our thank you
Oh
For
yes,
everything.
yes. That came in this afternoon.
for the roads and everything.
Yeah, she sent me a letter too, so.
Yeah. Job well done.
Yeah,
You guys work hard. You do a good job.
yeah,
Yeah,
especially
we
this
gotta get
winter.
through.
Okay, we had a couple of letters come in, David Simona, which I think we addressed in the grant applications. That if there's a committee can be, or Simona David, I mean, I'm sorry, I apologize. I always get that backwards. That in the event we get to a point where they're gonna be doing something, there'll be a committee formed like there was before. Okay, at this point, I guess we'll open it up as discussion from residents.
So what, I'm sorry, what was your response for Simona?
I spoke with Peg earlier, and also we just talked with Katie about it. At this point, that grant program that she was addressing is not open yet, so there's no need to have a committee formed until we see the actual grant, and that we need to find out what's going to be required and how the application process will roll out, and that would be through Katie and Mark Project. So at some point in the future, I'm sure there is going to be a need for community involvement.
And Judith's question?
And Judith, I'm going to just ask her to let us know what she's asking about again.
Oh, I just had a question in Denise's kitchen report, or Kirkside report. I was wondering, was there any updates on the kitchen being open? Like, has the water been turned on? Has the storage component of the ingredients been worked out? I know she's not here, but I didn't know if in her report it
Well, I
had
can
anything.
tell you that everything is turned on. It's up and ready to go. I don't know that she's got any required uses for it yet, other than I know that some of the catering companies are going to be using it for the weddings she's got scheduled. But I am not familiar with whether we're actually have any food preparation people that are looking to use it at this point or not. I have not heard. I didn't see anything in her report for the list of what's being done. But
No, we can ask.
yeah, we'll ask her about it and see what she's got to say.
I was referring to your 5-day advance notice.
Oh,
that you
thank
had
you.
sent.
Yes.
That's what's on the agenda.
Sorry, thank you. I don't
Okay.
have it, and I'm not wearing my glasses, so I couldn't see it anyway. But yes, right, because someone had asked me, they wanted to send a letter, and they said, "But is it too late?" And they're like, "What is the 5 days?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'll ask." So that's why.
Well, I think the idea for that is if there's something that somebody wants to send us in writing that they would like to see addressed at the board meeting, if possible, we need to get it a few days ahead of time so we
Okay.
have time to send it to everybody on the board,
Okay.
so everybody's familiar with it.
Okay.
And we picked the number of 5 days because board meetings are on Mondays.
So say Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
so
So like
get
it's
it
not 5
sometime
business
the
days.
week before they get a chance to, the board gets a chance to see
Okay.
it. Normally, whenever something comes in, Diane forwards it to everybody,
Okay.
so we all get a copy to see it, so.
So, I'm sorry, just for clarification, is it 5 business days or it's just 5 days?
If it's Wednesday, it's 5 days.
5 days. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Great. Gives those procrastinators a little more time.
As I said, we try to do our best to address as much as we can. But as I said, if there's something that requires some more time for us to look into it, we may not be able to address it that night, but.
Al,
Go ahead, Ed, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
You said you had something.
there seems to be a real dearth of information regarding the Hughes project. And I was just kind of curious as to, what's been going on? Has there been any communication, with the DEC? What's the posture right now?
And I, quite frankly, have not heard anything. We've officially from the town, we've not received anything in several months. I believe that the last information that we received officially from the DEC was the their decision on what was gonna be required for an environmental impact statement.
And how far back does that go?
That's back in the fall.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't think I assume in the process of still developing an environment impact statement, which if you remember from the information that the DEC put out, it was extensive. And for them to address all the issues that were needed certainly is gonna take some time, but we have not seen anything from that point.
you mentioned official, how about unofficial?
I have not heard
Nothing at
really-
all?
Nothing, really. I haven't heard anything from any of them.
So they're either procrastinating or,
Who knows? Yeah, as I said, it's not uncommon. These things get started and then
Yeah.
they start looking into them. That's no
well, there
different.
seemed to be so much of, you know, it was ongoing for a while, and then all of a sudden it
Yeah.
just quieted down.
Quieted
Like,
right down. We haven't really, I haven't personally heard
No, I haven't.
anything about it
okay.
officially or unofficially lately. So,
If something becomes official, let's say, it comes directly to you or to the board, is that right? And how do you disseminate
well,
to the
anything,
public what, you know, what's,
anything,
On the
that-
website.
yeah, anything
There's a
that
big
comes
book
to
over
us,
there.
anything that comes to us, we have a whole book of stuff there and we would just add it to that and it would also probably be placed on the website. We have
so that would really,
Yeah.
it would be the website more than anything else
yeah,
at this point.
it'd be available there too. Again, anything that the DEC sends is public knowledge. It's also
Right.
available through their channels, because anything that they get is made public, so. But,
Because as you know, well, a couple of months ago, I mean, just the press, whatever we had, like the
Yeah.
Mountain Eagle,
yeah.
it was just kind of overwhelming. Now all of a sudden it's like, no news is good news. And a few
Again,
people have asked like, where is the town?
I have
stand on it?
not either officially or unofficially heard from anybody. I have not heard from any of the people.
So you
that-
don't know what's forthcoming?
Nope. I have not heard from any of the people that were involved with it. I haven't heard anything, so I don't know what the status is. In fact, a few weeks ago, I talked with the town supervisor in Prattsville, and he said he had not heard anything either, so I don't know where we're at with it.
Hmm.
Sometimes
I wonder if
these-
it's a dead issue or whether
Sometimes they are,
it's just
sometimes
put
they're
on
not.
the back burner or
But it also is this kind of a project.
it's a major project, yeah.
The process to put together an environmental impact statement and answer all the questions and deal with all the studies that they're looking for takes time. I mean, it could
Yeah.
easily be, as I think we said when we first started this whole thing, it could be easily a year to 2 years
Yeah.
before there's even a decision made on where this thing goes.
Because as Stephanie said, the DEC is like short-staffed and, you kind of
Absolutely.
wonder, you know, is it piling up or?
And it's the city of New York along with it, and who
Yeah.
knows what their staffing is or what their I don't think that I've seen anything, an opinion from them either. Again, they all work as involved agencies with the same information that's submitted. As soon as it gets submitted, it goes to all involved agencies, so. Go ahead, John.
I have a
Sure.
random general question that occurs
Sure.
to me, and everybody may already know the answer to this, but I'll just ask because I'm here. What is the 10-year plan with the constable position? Is that something that's going to be continued after? Do you guys have a plan?
Well, at this point, I think it depends a lot on what Steve's plans are. He's been a 50-year employee of the town.
Yeah, but I mean, are we going to have a police officer 15 years from now?
It's hard to say, depending on what decision we make. The hard part, and I will be honest with this, the hard part with Steve's position is he basically is available 24/7 every day.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah.
He doesn't do anything. If we were to replace him with a constable and have that position available, we would either have to do limited hours of when the constable was available, or we would be hiring 3 people by the time you have vacation time and work times and everything else. So it's something that really needs to be looked at when Steve gets ready to retire, which I think will not be too long. I think he's at the point in life where probably within the next year or so he's going to be considering that. I've had conversations with him about it before, but at that point we'll cross the bridge and decide what is the next step. Again, it'll have a lot to do with what involvement the sheriff's department has over here and the state police. So it's hard to say at this point what we're going to do, but Steve's been here a long time. I'm not really ready to see him go yet either if he wants to stay.
But it is an item that could be put in the budget easily. It's obviously.
Well,
if
when we
you-
know what Steve's plans are and he tells us officially that he's gonna be done at a certain date, then we'll be able to make plans on which way we're going, so. Until that happens, it's really nothing we can address.
I would just
so.
say, my father passed away recently, and it was very unexpected, and
Yeah.
it might be a good idea to have a contingency plan in place in case. I think it's great to have the police officer. I'm totally in favor. So
Yeah.
I would just think that if, God forbid, something were to happen, and then you don't want to be left in a situation where you don't have a law enforcement officer. But it's just a random thought.
Well, I think we're gonna see, and I think, I've had these conversations with our county sheriff as well. And I think there's definitely some ability for them to fill in the event something happened and Steve couldn't be here. So we've had those kind of conversations already, so.
But does the board think that a constable is necessary for
I
the
think-
town, I think is kind of the question.
I don't think we're ready to make a decision on that at this point. I think that's something we need to look at based on the facts involved when we get to that point. At least that's my opinion. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I don't mean to answer for the rest of the board, so.
I think it'd be pretty tough to replace Steve with somebody like Steve.
The knowledge that, yeah.
He's been doing this for a very long time.
Well, I think as she's saying, you don't want this thing to fall by the wayside. That's,
We don't have the
there's a
intention of letting it fall
contingency
by the
plan
wayside.
of some kind.
So. Anything else from anybody? We have a big night here tonight. We're pretty swamped with people. Go ahead, Robin.
Okay, so I have just a couple of things and I'll try to be brief. One is, I saw the Climate Act letter that was on the website.
Yes.
Can I ask who wrote it? Because it's not signed by anybody.
This was a draft that was provided to us by the county. And I believe it was drafted through their council and the county planning committee. The Department of Planning in the county is where this information came from. And the county board, just so you know, the county board enacted a resolution about 2 meetings ago, I guess, supporting this situation. And they suggested that each town review it and put in a similar letter concerning this.
Okay, so I was curious as to, there are so many environmental organizations supporting this and supporting the moves that this is, because this is the future, So I'm wondering if you are against it. And with all due respect, it is a monetary decision, but it goes so far beyond that in terms of the implications of this. So, so if this is not something that you would be willing to support, there are no alternatives that in your letter at all. So I'm just asking
That's a good point.
what you think.
I have to admit, I haven't had a chance to read it all yet, so I don't really have any idea what's in probably 90% of it.
As I said, it was only submitted to you guys last week, and it is a rather lengthy document, so.
I thought it was on here for a resolution. You're gonna vote on it tonight. Is that true? Or no? Maybe I'm mistaken.
That's up to the rest of the board unless we decide to table
When
it.
I get things in, it's put on the agenda. What they decide to do and when is up to them.
Right, but.
There's many things on the agenda that's been dragging out for months.
Yes. So I just want to, kind of make sure that you're voting on something that you have given ample research to perhaps, and,
Well, any comments have to be in by June 10th.
right.
So,
It's up to you guys.
have a question. So when you said their council, so is this the county board of supervisors?
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
and who is the council for the county board?
I believe the attorney that drafted most of this is Young Summer, who's our town
Mhm.
attorney as well. So,
But I had a question about what was in the letter that I read online. It talks about like the waste management component, which kind of ties into the Hughes energy component. And it talked about how it will increase tipping fees and dumping fees, except Delaware County doesn't pay any, except for excess construction and demolition materials. All of the waste management at Walton is paid for, and there's no tipping fee for the when we take the stuff when whoever hauls the stuff from the transfer station to Walton. There's no fee for that. It's all paid for on the consumption end. It's all paid for, according
Well,
to Susan McIntyre, it's all paid for by sales taxes on the materials. And it's a dedicated amount of that goes to Delaware County's waste management, which makes it like incredibly equitable, right? Because it has to do with consumption. So if you buy more, you pay more for like the processing of the
well, it's
trash.
there's definitely a cost in processing the trash with the county, and it's a big share of their budget. Delaware County especially has been very successful in the facility over there as a composting facility. So a big share of the trash that goes in there is actually is
It's-
being composted to
Right. Right. And
save much space in the landfills and things like that.
yeah, she's
So
yeah,
and
she said
obviously
that.
any of the recyclables that they can recycle do go out and get sold.
They're sold, yeah.
So and all of that goes back in the budget. No, we don't have a separate line item in town for other than C&D removal,
Right.
which
And-
we
and-
do pay for by the ton
Ton.
as it goes to the county, and that's something that the Roxbury taxpayers pay for, and it's the separate box at the transfer station that it comes from.
But it's overage, right? Isn't there like a baseline?
Yeah, there's a base
that's allowed,
amount, and if
so
you
it's
go
an
over the
overage.
tonnage, you pay more,
Right,
and that's pretty typical every month or
Yeah.
every quarter. So
right, yeah. Susan
I believe
McIntyre.
the number last year, correct me if I'm wrong, Diane, was pretty close to 40,000 of our budget for
Mhm.
C&D removal alone. So that's what the taxpayers paid to have the C&D removed, have the ability to take their C&D and avoid having to drive it all the way to Walton. So
Right,
so
right. But it's kind of like the 480A or something. It's like because that's construction debris, so it's like other people are subsidizing
well, it's
that in
the box
a
that
way.
the box that we have at the transfer station was put there as a convenience to local residents that are cleaning out their garage or redoing a small
Mhm.
project. It's not there for the purpose of contractors to save the money when they're doing a construction job and put a half a house in there when they're remodeling a house. So, which we've had issues with in the past, but we try to keep control over it so that we know, so that it keeps the cost down. But again, the
Right,
idea for doing that box, and if the cost gets too much, we'll just eliminate it. And then
Right.
everybody that has a truckload of garbage or a truckload of C&D that needs to take it to Walton either has to hire somebody to go there with it, or else they have to take it themselves and pay a tipping fee over there when they
Right.
put it in. So,
But it's better, and it's definitely better to have it here than have it on the side of the road. So I totally feel that way. But it was
exactly.
an education.
And that was
to
the other
know
reason we
that,
thought it
like,
was a
the
good idea many
garbage-
years ago to do that. But again, to go back to the
Right.
cost for the solid waste, that's part of your taxes, but it's a line item for the county. And your county
Right.
comes
See,
out of your county
yeah,
taxes.
it's funny because Susan McIntyre said none of it came from property taxes. It only came, all the
Well, it's-
funding came from sales tax,
That
the
could be.
sale of recyclable materials, and some grants that they get through mostly the DEC for things like the hazardous waste days and certain special kind of events. But I was like surprised because none of it, she
It's
said.
actually very
none of it-
fascinating. If you ever get a chance and would like to go over there and see the facility they've got, it's kind of state of the art.
Yes, no,
They've done it.
they, very little ends up
Yeah.
in the landfill, as a matter of fact, and they say they have no intention, if Hughes ever gets built, of sending
Yeah.
any material there.
No, the
So
plan,
it's
Delaware
not gonna
County was
help us
not at all
local,
planning and participating in
Nothing.
that
at all.
because of the composting facility.
Right.
And to keep that operating, that's where their waste goes, but. Okay, are we done with discussion from residents?
No,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay, Robin, go ahead.
So I know you did mention the comprehensive plan, right?
Mhm.
And, so I was going to ask if there had been any progress, and also just what is it exactly that has to be done for the town to start?
Basically what the plan is we did a comprehensive plan several years ago,
Ten.
and basically would be updating that plan to bring it more in line with some of the changes that have happened in town, and that's something that's overdue in Roxbury. It needs to be done. We did a comprehensive plan many years ago, and it does need to be updated. I think the rule is generally you should do it every 5 to 10 years, and
5 years.
we're up
Usually.
more near 10 years now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yes, we are working on it. We have not started anything yet, but we are looking into it to try to get it going. And I'm sure when it's needed, if we need to form a committee of residents to be involved with it, we will certainly do that. I believe that's the way it was done last time. So
And just one other thing, because you mentioned that the new town hall, that you're making that move quick soon, right?
hoping to.
Right. So what's the plan for the old town hall? As a business owner on Main Street, I'm really concerned about abandoned or vacant buildings on Main Street and how that affects the town. So I know I've heard the thing about a museum, but are there any other plans? Because we haven't heard anything.
Well, I think it's been discussed pretty regularly. Probably the
Okay.
last 7 or 8 or 10 board meetings, we've discussed what we were going to do with this building. Have we decided exactly what it's going to be yet?
Uh-huh.
No. But one of the plans is we're considering moving all of the historical stuff that we have in storage, which is extensive,
All right.
and moving that here and setting it up as a display so the public can use it. I really don't think we're going to take the windows out and turn it into a rat-infested building, if that's what you're worried about.
I am a little concerned. I'm also concerned because one of the reasons that you moved was because there were a lot of problems with the building, right? So, are there any plans, or have you given any thought to the amount of the cost it will be to upgrade this building to use it as a museum?
Well, I don't think the inside of the building we really need to make any changes at all. One of the biggest issues with this building, as you're very aware of, is having the space to have everything and having it on a level where it can be publicly accessed. Right now, for somebody to see our assessor, they have to bang on the wall and she has to come down here to talk to them or call her on the phone because
Have a bell.
our stairs are certainly not handicap accessible. And that's the big reason that we're looking to do that. The concept for this building is it will provide some extra storage for things that we don't need to have right in the town hall, but are still required to keep. It will also give us some extra space in case we need to have a meeting here, or somebody in the community needs meeting space when something else at the town hall is being used. So, yes, that's our plan. It will become kind of a annex to the town hall, I guess is the best way to put it.
Would you be open to, I mean, I think it's great you're moving to the new building, so I support that move completely. I think it's a much better look for your town board. I think this is a bit of an embarrassment plus an eyesore. And I know coming here when I first came here and I was like, that's the town hall. You know, this is going to be 1,000 times better for you guys, and I think it's a great move. But I do agree with Robin that I think there's a lack of functioning storefronts in the town, and it's, you know, you have the Country Pride is kind of vacant. I would love to see a store in there. You have the old Lamont building that Rosa owns. I'd love to see a store in there. And this is, you know, we now have the food pantry next door, which is great that it's accessible, but it's not exactly a full-time functioning storefront.
And I think to have a thriving community and a thriving business community, we need a few more buildings here, and there aren't a lot of buildings. You know, I have my building, Andrew has his building, Lewis has his two buildings, which are not really being used, in my opinion, in the best way for the community. I mean, it's nice to have an insurance agency, but that could certainly be done online, and we could have a more, you know, something that gives a little bit more to your general population. But so this is in that sense, this is kind of a prime real estate position. And I'm wondering if you would be, and I love museums. I think museums are great. I mean, I've gone to museums my whole life, but you know, I wonder if that's the best use of the building, and if you would be open to discussing perhaps potential other uses.
Well, I think at this point, I guess we want to walk before we run, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get moved in the new town hall.
Right.
See what our space needs are, see what our meeting needs are. So at this time, there are no plans to sell or rent or lease the building. At some time in the future, I can't say that that would not happen.
Mm-hmm.
If it becomes a point when the town determines, and it's the town board, determines that the building is no longer useful to the town and we don't have a need for it, certainly we would consider probably selling it. Or
The
leasing
town
it
owns
out.
the building, I assume.
Yes, yes. This
You
was
could sell
originally-
it and,
Obviously, of course, we could sell it if we felt we need to, but again, I don't think at this point, at least in my own opinion, we are ready to do that because we really have to assess what our future needs are once we get everything settled in the other building. At some time in the future, maybe. I'm not saying it's certainly not in the question. It's certainly something we can consider. This is also a very historic building. It was originally the town's firehouse. It's
Who's going to run the museum?
it'll probably be handled through our town historian. I don't know that we'll have it open every day. I don't think we have a plan to hire a staff to be here every day, but I think we'll probably make it available in times when people are in the area for events and things like that. So, but at this point, we have no plans to sell it or lease it to anybody. That may change in the future. I don't know that it won't, but who knows? Again, we need to take one step at a time and get it.
No, I think
involved in
we're
what
just
doing.
thinking of a way to have more storefronts in the town.
Yeah,
You know,
I understand
a
what
way
you're
to
saying,
offer to
yeah.
bring
Yeah.
potential businesses into the town, which I think would be.
Well, I think
'cause you have
that's certainly a noble thing, and we definitely need as much business as we can have. I
Yeah.
think it's been what you guys have done already, and the businesses on Main Street has been huge compared to what we had 5 years ago here.
Yeah.
So I certainly commend you all for doing that. It's been huge.
I would just urge the board to consider the use of this building and how it affects Main Street now that you guys are leaving Main Street.
Mhm.
You know, how does it affect the rest of us? How does it affect the health of Main Street
Mhm.
here? And I understand that you want to get in there and see, but you know, you've known for a while that you're moving. So I would urge you to talk about a plan that will help Main Street
Mhm.
and the businesses on Main Street.
Well, one thing I will say is we are also planning in town to participate in this round of Main Street funding that's coming available as an applicant, I believe, for this building, so that we can do some stuff to the facade and try to get it back to a more historical look.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of this new funding round that's in place now. There's a committee working on that. We were already granted. I can't remember the total number, but anyway, we are looking at some things like that for the facade of the building to try to get it more in line with the historic nature of the town.
Okay, are you talking about the Main Street?
Yes.
Okay, so that I understand is a match.
I'll let Katie
Is that
speak to
true?
that one because if she's still on here, I'm not so sure she is. No, she isn't. Again, that's being handled through the Mark project.
I understand, but that is a matching grant.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So is the town going to pay for the renovation of the building?
That has
Or
not.
half of the renovation of the building?
I can't answer that, Robin, because we have not decided yet what's gonna happen, and when we do, if it's a matching grant, they can always be leveraged with other grants and things that are in place, so
Okay.
Is it gonna come out of the taxpayer's pocket? Most likely not, is what I guess I'm getting at. But we can't say that one way or the other for sure. So, okay,
Thank you.
anybody have anything else? We're already 2 hours in, we've got 10 minutes to get out of here.
Oh,
Go
My
to,
limit is 2 hours.
okay, quick.
oh, we are, okay. I, can I, so Lindsay Dodd had talked about a petition for the shoveling the sidewalks in winter, and like there would be, like we'd have to get, I want to know, how would I get Lindsay to clarify step by step what needs to happen so that can be set up in place, even if the onus is on, residents to set that up. But like, it's like, will you have to do a petition and half of the residents have to sign? Is that the whole town? Like,
I think that's
could
exactly
she
what she
explain-
told you.
Yeah, but like,
you're
is
gonna
that the
do that,
whole town? Is it
It's
just,
for a district.
it's a
To set up a
district?
district, any special district.
Okay, so we just decide that, or do you guys decide that?
No, the district would be made up of the homeowners or the property owners that have sidewalks in front of their residences.
Okay.
Or their businesses, whatever. Wherever there's a sidewalk, either here in Roxbury or in Grand Gorge, we would need to develop either 2 separate districts or one complete. And any costs to that for the sidewalk reimbursement or repairs or upgrades, and also any costs of maintenance, would be borne by everybody that is in that district. That's state law, we can't change that. We can't make it a town-wide budget item to do our sidewalks. It's not legal,
Why not?
because the
it's
state of
just
New York
like your
says we
lighting
can't.
district or the water districts and the sewer districts. Only the people within the district are in that, they pay the cost of everything.
Yes,
Okay, even though there's a benefit to everyone in the
That's correct.
town?
that's correct. That's the way the state law reads, and that's what Lindsay explained several meetings ago. We've looked into this several times over the last probably 20 years. And it comes up a lot, and I know everybody's excited about it, but at the end of the day, the cost to upgrade our sidewalks in town would be astronomical for, 100 residents maybe at the most, or not even. I don't know how many parcels that actually entails just in the village of Roxbury, but it's
I
not
just
a
meant
lot.
shoveling. I wasn't thinking that
Well,
big. I was just
the other
thinking,
side
like,
of it is-
shoveling.
The other side of
to
it
get
is,
it shoveled.
if you're gonna shovel it, you need to hire somebody to do that. And that cost needs to be borne by the district, or each individual property owner has to do their own, which is the way it is right now. And most property owners don't do it, or many of them don't do it. I won't say most, but many of them don't take care of their sidewalks. So,
Would you consider putting together a little committee to look at what the options are? I have a hard time believing that there's nothing we can do about this, nothing.
I would be glad to entertain a committee of people that want to. The first thing I think you would need to do is you would need to address each of the owners of the property, and that's what we talked about with the petition. Before we can even form a sidewalk district, you need to get a petition
51%.
with 51% of the property owners in that district need to agree that
Okay.
that's what they want to do.
I guess so. And so, like, what would the petition say? That's why I was like, well, can Lindsay help us figure out what we need, what it needs to say?
I mean, I'd be glad to put one of you
Okay.
in touch with Lindsay, or both of you, if
Okay.
you'd like to discuss it with her and see what she wants to do. I'm sure she'd be more than willing to do that.
Okay, yeah, because it's like, all right, well, so you do a petition, but that's kind of a vague notion. If you've never done one, what should it say?
You could probably even Google just special district petition.
Oh, okay. So it could be. So it's not specific. It wouldn't be specific around shoveling snow.
Well, it would be specific for whatever you're trying to do, but that should give you a guideline
Okay.
under New York State
But the
law.
key is, to form a district, you need 51% of the property owners in that district to
And
agree.
doesn't that have to be who voted in the last governor?
I think, yeah, there's whatever it's
Something
tied to the
they had to
51%.
vote.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
something
right.
like that. I
That
remember
right.
that was in her
That
thing
was the
too.
different.
So
Well, maybe
it's-
we'll do it after November. site,
Is there any rule in the state law that you said that, you know, it has to be a district? Is there anything in that state law that says how much each property owner needs to be charged for this?
It's based on ad valorem, which is the assessed value.
Like your
The
taxes.
assessed
It's
value
just like your
of-
special districts now, just like your general fund, your highway fund, anything like that for the taxes. The
Uh-huh,
budget is made up,
uh-huh,
it comes up to a certain rate per thousand,
uh-huh,
and that's based on assessed value. If you're assessed for 100,000, you're gonna be paying X amount of dollars, which is double of somebody that's gonna be assessed for 50,000, based on that rate.
okay, and it has to be that rate? It's that
Yes,
specific in
that's
this
ad
law?
valorem,
Okay,
And the rate is determined by whatever costs are involved.
whatever the budget is,
Whatever the budget is for that district is what
and
determines
that's
the rate.
based on assessed value.
the district could be anything though, it doesn't have to be all of Main Street of Roxbury and Grand Gorge, correct?
I believe that's true if you wanted to make it as like just the
Just the-
downtown section or something
yeah,
like
to
that.
hear the library,
Don't quote
where
me on
people
that, but
park.
I believe that's a
Well,
possibility.
your district can be whatever you want it to be.
Right.
Okay,
So
so,
if the business owners on from here down wanted to get together and do a sidewalk district for that, then yes, I believe we can do that. But they would also be the ones that would be required to pay the costs
right,
based on their assessed value for whatever district was part of it, so.
Right, and so the town itself could not decide that this is a worthwhile effort.
Oh, we all think it's
And-
worthwhile,
and
we
it
can't do it by
benefits
law.
Everybody, whether you live on Main Street or
We
not.
can't do that, that's not legal.
Okay.
I'm not an attorney, but that's what I'm told.
Uh-huh.
well, it's not legal to make a sidewalk district, but is it illegal to shovel the, to have someone shovel
If,
the parts that, like, the post office, the town hall, you know, like, just so people can get from, say, the
I
library
understand
too.
what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. What I'm told from town law is that if we use town funds to maintain individual properties,
Hmm.
because again, you own to the center of the street in most cases. So it's your property. Your sidewalk is your
I
property.
see.
So if we use town funds to maintain that, and we use funds that are part of everybody in the town, Grand Gorge, everywhere's, as part of our general budget,
Mhm.
that's not legal.
Okay, so then the other part.
It'd be no different than me going down there and getting a dump truck load of stone and taking it up and putting it on my driveway because I wanted a better driveway. That's not legal either.
Okay. So then, can the town require that homeowners take care of their property in front of their property? Take care of the sidewalk in front of their property if they are responsible for it?
That I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
That I'd have to defer, because I'm not sure that we can force people to do that.
I think we had that out to Kevin at one time.
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah. We talked
I
about
mean,
it before. But I'm
There
not so
again,
sure.
you're
Lindsay.
right back to the enforcement.
And how do you enforce it?
Well, you give people tickets, the same way as if they left their garbage out on their, on the street, right? They're responsible. You are actually, you're asking them to be citizens, and if they have that responsibility, then that's what they need to do. No? I don't know, I'm putting that out there.
I would, again, second Robin on this one. I don't think you need to do it. Somebody lives on Burroughs Memorial, who cares? But you have a main street that's a public face of your town. And so shoveling, not so much, but, a certain level of maintenance of your home
Yeah.
is important because
I totally
even the
understand.
distressed properties, it's just an embarrassment again for everybody, and it devalues your property, it devalues your town, and it devalues your potential business district, and it ultimately devalues your quality of life. And this goes to the Verona Oil Company as well, because there are nice Verona gas stations. I have seen them. This just is not one of them, and they should be maintaining it better.
Well, I guess it goes back to one thing, and this is something that's been addressed many, many times in this community and been shot down every time, and that's the Z word.
The zoning, yes,
Nobody's not
absolutely.
even allowed to talk about the word, but it's the Z word.
There should be zoning for Main Street though,
And
just this
when
little
you
area.
do zoning for a municipality, and you say Main Street is one district,
Mhm.
and the rest of the municipality is another district, and that's the way zoning works. But again, it has to be done on on a town-wide basis. You can't just say, we're gonna say everybody from here to the square has to do this, this, and this or with their property without enacting a zoning ordinance.
But if we get this petition
It's called
signed
land
by all
use.
those people, could we then make a district and then have that at least district be enforced?
No, because you have to, it has to be, a zoning district is for the whole community. And, or the zoning ordinance is, I'm mistaken, the zoning ordinance is for the whole community. Where Roxbury is a town that does not have a zoning ordinance, which is a land use law. We have no say in what somebody does with their own property unless they're doing something illegal.
Well, what about but isn't the historic
Yeah.
preservation district, like people can't just do what they want to their property?
That was formed under the historic preservation law.
So.
And yes, it is a form of zoning, but it is not a
Right.
townwide zoning ordinance.
Right, so maybe just the historic preservation.
Okay, I know we've
zone
gone
could
over
be-
this thing many times, and I'm done. I don't know about you guys, but
Okay.
I'm done.
All
We're
right,
moving
well,
on
put
with our
us in
meeting.
touch with
I've given you a good 45 minutes to discuss the same thing over and over again, and we're done with this. Now you understand why I don't do it on Zoom anymore. Okay? We're moving on. We've got a lot more to cover tonight, and we're moving on.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much for your comments. Okay. Resolutions. And then we're going home. Town clerk monthly report, supervisor's monthly report, assessor's monthly report, building inspector's monthly report, water district reports, justice court report,
Nothing from dog.
Nothing
or
from
tax collector.
nothing from the tax collector or the dogs, and the parks department's report. I need a resolution for all of those, please.
I'll make that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I need a resolution to prepay capital projects bills that were approved for approval.
I'll make that
You've
motion.
all received them. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
The next one, the Depot Street Road, we discussed, we're on hold with that. The next one, the country home security cameras, again, we are on hold with that. We've not made a decision yet on what or where we want them at the town hall, so. I need to meet with country home security again and discuss that a little bit further. We have a change order on the Roxbury Grand Gorge Water Project #2 for Green Mountain Construction. This was the cost for the initial installation of underground propane tanks, if you remember from Mike's comments the last couple meetings. The original bid was to have them above ground, and they required them to put under. So I need a resolution for that.
I'd make it.
And a second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Next one is a resolution for camera construction for additional costs we had in moving furniture and doing the board podium at the new town hall. That was not included in the original bids. I need a resolution for that. Cost of $5,540.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The NYSERDA, New York State Climate Action Control Scoping Plan. Comments are due on this on June 10th. So what's the board's pleasure? I personally will be sending a letter myself. I don't agree with some of the other comments I've heard tonight. But as far as the town board goes, I need to hear from you, the rest of you folks, whether you would like me to do this under the auspices of the town.
I would like more time to read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is?
If that's the case, we will table it. Can I have a motion to table it?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And we need to award the RFP for the Pleasant Valley Stream Work. We've had four quotes. The low bid was
17.9.
17.9, and that was
Hickley Walk.
Walkett and Hinckley. And I will abstain from this vote. So, anybody have any problems with it?
I don't.
Comments? Need a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And I will abstain from that vote. Okay, we finally have a final quote from the for the ARPA funds for the traffic logics. Speed signs, because of the changes we made based on both the input from the DOT and determining we didn't need some of the things there. The quote now is $24,845, which is much less than what we originally started out with.
With the size of the pole that you're gonna change from 13 to 8, is that gonna make a difference?
Not much,
No.
a little bit. Yeah, but it'll be minimal. So, if we can even change them, they may already have them ordered, but it's not that big of a deal. But, so I'll need a resolution for that so we can move forward.
I'll make that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Solar assessment issues, Stephanie discussed, there's no road there. We also discussed the rat issue on Main Street. We will continue to monitor it. I know there have been some issues concerning rats. There definitely were some issues last year down by the square and other parts where the businesses all are. So we'll be monitoring that as it goes forward.
I see them at Reed's all the time.
Yeah, there's been some issues there that are inherent with being in that kind of a business, but also we'll do our best to deal with it. The biggest issue, and I know we are also in bear season, and I've heard from a couple of residents that some of the dumpsters have gotten squashed and dragged around the backyards, and that's all the same problem. So anyway, that's nothing really for a vote. I did discuss the Denver sewer law with Kevin. They do not have a draft yet. I know they're working on it, but they haven't gotten anything yet. You received water costs for the town up to dates for the water project that we've been working on. The issue for the Kirkside light pole damage is still on hold. We're still working on how to resolve and getting some quotes on that. Same thing with the Hero infectious disease plan. We're waiting for the county to come up with a plan. I believe they were going to develop some kind of a draft plan that other municipalities could use. The sewer repair bill in Roxbury Run is on hold until we get some more information. You have not heard from him in a while, have you, Diane?
No.
No, I haven't either. And the last thing we have for quotes is the quote, you all received a quote for the defibrillator that we were purchasing, or that the fire department is purchasing. And our portion of that is going to be approximately $20,000. And I'm going to ask them to provide us with a letter when the unit comes in so that we have something for our records to distribute the funds.
We did give them 20,000.
Yeah, we approved it
Yeah.
to do the 20,000, but Diane would like to get a letter from them or something for her records when we do it.
Okay.
Just showing that's our portion. The total cost, I believe, for that unit was around
38.
38 to 40 somewhere.
It was 40 something. I think it said adjusted to 31 something.
Yeah, they had some adjustments. They were able to do a little better price wise when they got right down to it. So,
The only other thing too is, they're putting out that bid for the Roxbury Brainward's water project for the loop, Lake Street and
Yes.
Roosevelt.
Yeah.
So you might wanna do a resolution to bid that,
okay,
cause I don't think we did.
we didn't. Okay, so we need
So
to do.
probably
Our meeting
That's
is
going out this week.
our meeting is when, the 11th or June.
Yeah, but just to go to bid, that Lamont's putting the notice in the paper
Okay, so we just need a resolution to go to bid.
to bid it.
Okay, all right, I'll ask for a resolution then
I'll make that motion.
in a second.
Motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I guess that's all I've got. Whoever's on the highway committee, we got a contract coming up at the end of the month, so we're gonna have to start talking to them again. I know Macker's not here, but, we did also put a table on the agenda about the ARPA funds. To date, we have not spent any of them, but we do have quite a lot of it committed from what we received last year. We should be receiving the other half of this, I believe, sometime in July, end of July. So. The last thing we have is to approve the bills unless anybody has anything else.
I'd make that motion.
Anybody have any questions, comments on the bills? Turn over 'em. We're all good?
No. Yeah. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody has anything else?
Just one thing I'd like to say is Judith Robin, and I know Kevin's not here, but thank you for putting on that garbage pickup day, the trash day. I don't know what the
Oh,
total
yes,
bags
yes.
were, but I
Yes,
spent
thank
a
you
couple
for
hours out
organizing
that
that.
morning, and it's
You're-
unbelievable
you're-
the garbage that's on our roads.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty sickening,
Unbelievable.
actually, so
I
thank
know.
you very much.
Oh, well,
You're
thank you,
welcome.
and thank you for coming.
How many bags
coming,
did we
yeah.
get?
Well,
Was it
we
70
gave
something?
out like 75, and then people were like going back to their houses and getting more bags and doing it on their own. Someone else. So it's probably over 100 bags. I know in that the parking lot, the municipal park,
Yeah.
not the library, when the one by Chappie's, they got like 4 huge, not like the little kitchen-sized ones, but like the black ones, full, 4 bags full. So that was kind of, yeah.
We're actually thinking of doing another one.
Yeah, but thank you, and
To
I know,
kinda-
a lot of people, we put it together kind of quickly.
What you don't
and
realize
then
when you
people
drive
do
by, you see some and you go, oh, okay, there's garbage.
Right.
You actually get out in the ditch and realize how much
how much,
Yeah.
yeah.
stuff is around here.
Yes, very, very commendable. And as I said, I hope that if you do it again, I will do my best to be there.
All right.
I've been dealing with a lot of issues lately, but if I can be there, I definitely will.
Yeah, thank you.
If anybody's got anything else, if not, we'll ask for a resolution to go home.
Second?
Okay, we're going home. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.